turned away from the nurse and I turned toward the door to leave and go right back to the office up on, I don't know, the next floor up or whatever it was. And believe me, I felt such dread in my soul. I really had an awfully dreadful feeling because it was like uh, the dream had ended. I mean, the dream, when it got to the point she said, there's been a mistake, they want you upstairs, that was the end of the dream. And you have to understand, living through it, you're you're living an experience that's almost exactly like a dream you had. Everything except for one little thing, the activity of that second nurse. It's the only thing that was different, right? Just that nurse hesitating, coming out from around the corner. So it was like, there were so many ideas there, so many philosophical ideas, to think about, predestination. Are we predestined to do exactly everything that we do? Well, that little nurse, she broke that rule because she didn't do it. She did what she did in the dream, but there was such a delay. It was a shocking delay to me. That she came around that corner late. But, she did get to work that day. She was there with the other nurse. Everything was the same. So, anyway, so I think, we're almost, well, we're not robots. We're not puppets. Evidently that nurse had the freedom to do whatever she was doing that kept her from coming around the corner. So we're not robots. But we can have dreams of the future. Now just think of this. This was a few months between the dream and the actual experience. It was, and you figure with the huge complexity of the world and so many people, and like that little nurse has some freedom to do things differently than, what God might allow you to see in a dream. Um, it's a hell of a prediction that it all came off so well, you know, that and so anyway, because, and then I had this sense of dread. Just as I left the room, I had a tremendous sense of dread, and it took all my courage to walk, and leave that place, because it was like that room was part of God's vision, the way it impressed me, This wasn't any kind of spoken doctrine or anything, but you emotionally, you have a feeling while you're going through the motions in this uh, live experience that you completely dreamt. It's like you're in the vision of God. It's like God is watching the whole thing. You know what I mean? And then when it's over with, you come to the end of the dream, then whoa, it's like God is no longer watching. Like, what in the hell could happen to you? You know what I mean? It's awful. So you can have a dream in the future. Maybe it's a terrible thing to do. I don't know. But I did ask for a dream of the future. I had the dream of the future. So God is in the verb. It's about, what happens. And that's what's important, what happens. What experiences do people have? That's where I'm interested. I'm interested in the experiences other people have, you know? And, metaphysically, what kind of experiences can you have? What are the options? Maybe there's an experience I'm missing out on because I don't know that much about reality. Maybe reality offers a lot more than I ever imagined or dreamed of. But at least I've had some experiences. And like, I pointed out in another video, if you want to be certain, you know, that God does exist, there is a verb that you can experience, and that is to ask God to send you somewhere, to send you from one place to another place. And it's not heresy or anything. It's very, it's not the surface of Jewish tradition. It's not the surface of Christian tradition. It's not the surface view. It's what they all deeply understand, really. It begins way back with Enoch, or they say Enoch, Christians, whatever. Enoch was not, or God took him, right? Okay, well, that was a perplexing thing for, generations. My Lord, the guy disappeared because God took him, right? Well, then you get to other parts of the Bible, and then, they get to the root of the problem. If you disappear, where are you, Who has ascended and descended, to heaven? Ascended and descended from heaven. Who's done that, That's like a rhetorical question in the Old Testament, right? So, some people say, well, it's probably King David. He probably did it. So anyway, it's a, it's really part of something. Somebody, I haven't looked this up, but it's somewhere in I believe, the life and trials of Ezekiel. He ascended, and descended from heaven, and was transported like, I don't know, 1,800 miles or something. So anyway, I think it just was a unique situation in him, where he somehow intended or asked God this benefit, He had to be somewhere. He got there, right? God delivered him to his destination. And that's the real meaning of deliverance. Let's be honest, a delivery vehicle does that. It moves something from one place to the other place. That's what deliverances means. It means to deliver something. If people, um, and it's such a miracle, really, because when you spring forth from the air, on a bright sunny day, you really know what spirit is. Spirit is the vehicle that dumps you there on the ground, You experience yourself as like a reforming atmosphere. The sunlight shines through you. And it takes a while before you even, your senses, you feel your senses. At first you don't have any sense of temperature or anything. The first thing that happens is like, you have a experience of brilliant light. That's the only thing you experience. You're just experiencing a brilliant light. Apparently it's the sunlight. And it's all you experience. There's no thought. You don't even have the ability to think. You don't. You just have a tremendous experience of life. And then it just happens moment by moment. And I think it's like a shock state of consciousness. Like if you witness a automobile accident, it seems like everything slows down. Rationally, if it's all measured and logical and everything, this accident is only taking a second and a half. You feel like it's taken 5, 10 minutes for these, cars on the road to collide and all this kind of stuff. And that's how it is when you're delivered. Your consciousness automatically goes into that kind of a, slow down of what's actually taking a moment to happen. So, you go through these, developments of consciousness or whatever, and you come down, and all of a sudden, as you see, when it first happened to me, right? When I was first delivered to the earth, I saw like my body form, and as my body formed, I